Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List. And, I didn't think I was going to be in the position that I find myself in today, which is talking about two 2024 Formula One races that were not competitive at the highest level, in terms of who's going to win.
Brother, ugh.
I thought that maybe we would have a little bit more competition to speak of, but that's not the case. Now, Liberty Media has increased the value of F1 by 3 or 4 times since they took over. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll probably put a graphic up here that says whatever 2018 or 2019, whenever they took over. But they've increased the value. They've done a great job with marketing. Drive to Survive has been a great success. At the end of the day, like I always say, Formula One is a business, and right now, business is good. It's just kind of the product that isn't.
Hey, what's going on? It's the Petrol List.
Max Verstappen has won, I think, every one of the last 20 races, save for one. And even if we look at the seasons since the end of 2021, it's been the Max Verstappen show. And I know there's been a lot of hate, probably including from myself, with the fact that Red Bull and Max Verstappen have been so dominant. But I think in today's video, and I'm going to keep this one brief, I'm going to give Red Bull their flowers. Their whole job is to build the fastest car, to find the fastest driver, make sure that that car is well suited to that driver, and they did that. And that is the job that every other team is supposed to do as well. So is it Red Bull's fault that Red Bull and Max Verstappen are so dominant and have been so dominant for the last couple of seasons? No, absolutely not. Mercedes had a chance to build an entirely new car, which they did over the winter, and it's not performing. Now, Saudi Arabia is not, Lewis Hamilton's best track, but also it's not the car's best track. I was listening to another video, and they said that comparatively speaking, the RB20 on certain corners or turns or whatever in Sector 1 had 100% throttle engagement. So we're talking pedal to the metal, flying through the corners. In the same corner, from what I heard, the Mercedes car was at 60% throttle engagement. I've never heard those kind of statistics, and that tells me that I need to get a little bit deeper into the technical aspect of the racing, especially this year, if we're not going to have, just visually compelling competitive, passing and whatnot, because that does tell a really, really compelling story. 60% throttle, that just tells you that the W15 is much less suited for the corners as compared to the Red Bull car, which is striking because, like I said, the W15 was a new car, but guess what? The RB20 is also a new car. The W15 is a better chassis, better decisions have been made. The zero side pods are gone. Gearbox has changed. The suspension is different. But now it's up to Mercedes and other teams who have redone their cars to they're kind of playing catch up. They're using a new architecture. That architecture gives them a lot more leeway to make the cars better. But guess what? Red Bull did basically a new car as well, and they nailed it out of the gate. So that just tells you that Red Bull is currently heads and tails above the other teams when it comes to vehicle design, vehicle development. Saudi is not Lewis Hamilton's best track. I know that from my limited sim racing experience. Not every track is your best track, especially when it comes to your driving style. Lewis Hamilton is really good on the brakes. He's really good at braking late. There's some tracks, I don't know off the top of my head, but some tracks, braking late really helps out, gives you an advantage, puts you in the position to pass. Saudi Arabia, not so much. Saudi doesn't care how late you brake. It cares about your top speed, and it cares about how fast you can go around the corners. It doesn't really care about the braking. So, there is no perfect driver on the grid. Not Lewis Hamilton, not Sebastian Vettel, not Max Verstappen. And if that track does not complement your strengths, but punishes not just your weaknesses, but punishes the weaknesses of the cars that you're driving, you're just not going to have a good time. George Russell didn't have a good time in Saudi Arabia either. And, there you have it. So, is 2024 a bust for the rest of the teams? We don't know yet. It's only been 2 races, 2 very specific kinds of tracks. I think once we get into 3 or 4 more races, we will know, because then you're going to have like the breadth of data from different kinds of tracks that reward different driving styles. And if we can't find a sweet spot for Mercedes and other teams, then 2024 is effectively a wrap when it comes to watching competitive racing. I'll still be here. I'll still be making comments. You can come and what do they call it? Commiserate. Yeah, you can come and commiserate with me if you're a other than Red Bull fan as we watch the rest of the dreadful season together. Stop by. I'll be here. Honestly, that's all I have for today. I told myself I was going to finish up in 5 minutes because there's not a whole heck of a lot to say. 7 minutes later, I'm still here rambling. But it's for you. No, I'm kidding. It's for me. It's for all of us. One other side topic, completely unrelated to Formula One. I was watching a video about the Porsche Cayman and the Porsche 911, and especially, I want to say the first 3 generations of the Cayman. Is it 981, 987, and not whatever? The first 3 generations of the Cayman, especially the Cayman S or the Boxster S that were using the 3.4 liter flat 6 engine. Did you know that it uses so many of the same parts? It's basically a mid-engined Porsche 911. Now, I've always heard that, and but I didn't know the details of how many like actual parts, like part numbers, interchangeable. I didn't know that. So when eventually I go and get a Porsche product, and it's either going to be, I want to say it's going to be either a Cayman or a 911. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'd have to sell the S4 and the Miata because I don't want a crap load of cars. But by the time that happens, I don't know. It's either going to be the Cayman or the 911, and mid-engine is actually, it's a better layout, better weight distribution. It's making the 911 argument less viable. It just wouldn't make sense, except for the fact that I really do like the 911, and maybe I make the emotional decision to get one of those instead of a Cayman, even though the Cayman would be mid-engined and cheaper. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, that's it. That's the video. See you next week. After the race. That somebody other than Red Bull will win. Just kidding. All right, I'm out.